You're with Julian on the brown note, and this economy isn't working, not for most of us. The neoliberal economy since the 1980s that has existed in the Western world, not so much in places like China or India, who still have the old paradigm of that growing economy that America saw after World War II and after the near socialism of FDR. It's become the first time since the Industrial Revolution that the Western nations' fortunes for most of their population has gone backwards. And it continues to do so. And people keep voting for it because a lot of people back in the 1980s were benefiting from the old ways. And someone decided there was a cut-off point, and a lot of people that already had their own homes should be the only people to benefit from the economy from now until the end of time. We are asked to give up our entire lives for work, or at least the majority of our waking hours. The majority of us doing things that we don't like, and stopping doing things that we would, or spending time with people we actually want to. This is a big thing to give up your whole life for. And the trade-off always was the baseline that all of that endeavor would lead to you owning your own home and potentially passing on that wealth to the the next generation. That's not happening now. I've paid something like approaching $450,000 in rent to somebody else's mortgage since I've lived in Sydney since 2004. In any other era, I own my own home and it's paid off. I have nothing. I've got nothing. And COVID taught me that. When I didn't have a job, when I didn't have a job and I was looking down the barrel of an ever-decreasing bank account, I realized that I had nothing for all of that work. And that is going to be the paradigm for an awful lot of people now. Why are we working when we don't get anything for it? We're paying other people's... We work our whole lives to pay off other people's investment properties. It's not even their only home. Half of them have got dozens of homes, and they get more tax breaks than we do on one home if you're lucky enough to own one, which most of us now don't, especially in Sydney. It has changed dramatically. In 1981, the average price of a three-bedroom home in Sydney was $64,000 in old money, which equates to $250,000 in money today. It was the baseline right for any working class person to one day own a modest home. It is not the baseline now for a well-paid person to own a one-bedroom flat, or a middle-class couple where they're both working to ever own their own home. If we had to find $250,000 when the average wage in Sydney is $75,000, 4 times that wage, less than 3.5 times that wage, we would all have our own home. Instead, it's gone up by a factor of over 4, approaching 5 times. It's $1.1 million to buy a home in Sydney, a 3-bedroom, medium-price home. You've now got to find something like 14 times the average wage to get a 3-bedroom, modest home in Sydney, which is beyond virtually anyone that didn't already have a home. At the moment, about 50% of home buyers are getting between $90,000 and $100,000 off mummy and daddy, who convince themselves that they are hard workers because they benefited when everything was great and they could afford to buy a home, which then rose dramatically in value, convincing them that they were harder workers than the current generations, which is rubbish. This is a con. Why are we propping it up? Why are we partaking in this? People keep voting to kick themselves in the face. And the people that are benefiting are voting against their own kids. They're voting for a younger generation never to have the opportunities that they had. It used to be the bog standard birthright to own your own home. That's gone because of economic neoliberalism. because of franking credits, because of 9 billion in franking credits, something like 20 billion in negative gearing. All of that money goes on your rent. All of that extra tax breaks for these people that already have at least one, but probably more homes, adds to your weekly rent, because most of that money is used in speculation in the property market, which caused it to enormously rise after the year 2000. So I'm just curious why I'm buying into this lifestyle when you get nothing out of it. Well, you don't even get the endeavour that has been a baseline since the developed world first formed cogent societies, which was to own your own home. Half of us will never own our own home, but we're going to pay our entire lives wages into someone else's mortgage.